Best Cabernet in the world, a small Paso producer is growing. Say that 3 times fast. And let's double cork that champagne for good measure. All that and more on This Week Uncorked. Hello and welcome to episode 16 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, November 4th, 2024. From Cork and Journey, I am Brett Martin. That's your number one source for corkage fees, Cork and Journey. We also have wine reviews and winery reviews and restaurant reviews and more. So head over to Cork and Journey to find your corkage fees and more. And with that, let's get right on into this week's show. Well, over at the Australian Wine Challenge, this is where 11,000 wines are submitted by over 1,400 producers. The Amadio Wines 2021 Reserve Range Sebastien's Cabernet Sauvignon, yes, that's a whole mouthful there, was named the best Cabernet in the world at the AWC Vienna 2024. There's an Austrian wine competition, and this Australian wine was judged the best out of all of the competitors in the entire competition. So is it the best Cabernet in the world? I don't know, but it is a complete, total blind tasting, and it was awarded actually the best. They basically, everybody scores it. They add up the average score. I think this ended up like a 93.2 or something when the whole averages were all taken into account. But anyway, congratulations to them. This is Adelaide Hills Cabernet Sauvignon, and out of Australia. If you're not familiar, they do produce some amazing Cabernets. I've had some incredible Cabernets from Australia. And so congratulations for them for being awarded the best Cabernet in the world. And moving right along with the news, hey, good news. According to Wine Business, it's a good growing season. 2024. So 2024 in Napa was a excellent growing season. 2023 is hailed as like the vintage of the century. We hear this all the time, but 2024 evidently went well. Despite the fact they had 30 to 40 days, which were over 100 degrees in heat, as opposed to 2023 when there were only 10 days. Evidently, we had so much rain in 2023, there's a ton of moisture, so you had good leaf coverage. And it turns out, look, everybody's having good things to say about this Napa harvest. So shout out to Napa. Let's hopefully, we have not been hearing that from France. But at least Napa seems to have had a good growing season. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to our friend Rex Pickett over at rexpickettbooks.com. He's the author of the novel Sideways. He's also written Sideways New Zealand, Sideways Oregon, Sideways Chile. And if you head over to rexpickettbooks.com, he will give you 10% off your entire purchase if you use the code CORK10. So he will autograph the books. He'll write anything you want in the books, on the cover page. So, no effing Merlot, Rex.
If anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving. I am not drinking any Merlot.
Whatever you would like to have in there. Anyway, shout out to our friend Rex, and head over to rexpickettbooks.com and check that out. Hey, and Clos Selene, which is a small little producer in Paso, has announced the hiring of a new general manager, Will Fuhrman. They put out a press release on this. But one of the things that really excited me is that they also announced that they are breaking ground on a new 19,000 square foot underground cellar, which is going to be built right into the hillside there. I love these guys. We visited their winery, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later on. But if you have a chance, if you're in Paso, stop by Clos Selene. They're a little off the beaten path. You do need to make an appointment to see them. We did an ATV tour when we were there, and it was absolutely amazing. So shout out to those guys, and happy to see that they are growing. And here was a cool little article. You've got some champagne growers in Champagne that are kind of double corking their champagne, if you will. So the way champagne is made is they make still wine. So usually in Champagne, it's Pinot. So you've got Pinot, maybe some Meunier, but anyway, you've got this, sometimes Chardonnay, of course. And so they basically will make a still bottle of wine. And then once that's done, they basically bottle it. And they then add the more yeast to it for it to undergo secondary fermentation. Normally, they put what's called a crown cap on top of that, which is like a bottle like you see on the top of Coca-Cola. And that's where it sits for however long they're going to age it, sitting on the lees. That's the dead yeast that goes down. As that secondary fermentation happens, basically the gases that are released, they don't have anywhere to go, so they embed themselves into the liquid itself, which is where you get the bubbles when you crack a bottle of champagne. Then what happens is they turn them upside down. All of the sediment goes down into the neck of the bottle. They then freeze the neck of the bottle, pop that little crown cap off, and boom, out shoots all that dead frozen yeast. And then they add the dosage, which is maybe to make it a little, which is basically just still wine being added in to fill that spot. Sometimes it's got a little sugar in it, and that kind of depends on, how sweet or unsweet your sparkling wine, champagne, is going to be. Well, you've got some producers now that are basically saying, well, we like that micro oxidation that occurs from a cork, which is the tiniest amount of oxygen can kind of seep in and interact with the wine to give it a little bit, maybe more depth. It's a theory anyway. But so they are actually, that whole secondary fermentation process is being done under cork, which is a little more costly and a lot more time consuming because, a machine can basically take these bottles, freeze them, take the cap off, blow out the dead yeast, and then go ahead and have the dosage and do it. But when you're doing it by hand, that machine can do that 1,400 bottles an hour. When you do it by hand, you're down to about 400 bottles an hour to do it that way. And then, of course, that cork is shot. They've got to do a whole nother cork to go ahead and seal it for the final presentation, if you will. But producers are saying they're loving the results and that it's worth it. You get finer bubbles. And it's, they're saying it's the whole new way to go. So I've yet to try a bottle of this. If anyone has, I would love to hear about it. But interesting article on this process going on over in Champagne. And with that, let's get to our wine and winery of the week. Well, we're going to talk about Clos Selene. Talked about them earlier, and when Tina and I visited them, I think it was 2 years ago, we went out there. Absolutely beautiful facility. This is a husband and wife team of Guillemets and Solène Fabre. They created Clos Selene in 2007. Guillemets comes from a multi-generational family from France's Languedoc-Roussillon region. They basically have just built a beautiful winery. I mean, they have cleared paths, cleared hills, really are doing it in the overall French style. Really some kind of Rhone varietals, Rhone style blends is what they're famous for. I don't have any. All I have left is this bottle of their rosé, but we bought a bunch of their wine, which tells you how good it actually was. But they are doing an amazing job. And since they're building out, I can't wait. We just rolled some B-roll there we saw, but that one hill, I guess they're going to dig right into there and build that 19,000 square foot underground cellar. They're going to put their production facilities in there, do tours in there, have tasting areas in there, all kinds of things. And I guess that is imminent that they're doing that. Not sure how long it's going to take to build, but I can't wait to go out there and see it once they have it done. In Paso, there's this entire, Jess Lander wrote for the San Francisco Chronicle, has written about the French mafia. These are some people that have kind of come in from France and are just doing amazing things. Can't think of the name of the restaurant off the top of my head right now, but there's a restaurant downtown Paso, killer. Again, it's part of this French mafia, this whole family basically that kind of came in and is doing some really incredible things down in Paso. So shout out to them and best of luck. And we had a great time. We were there and I can't wait to go back and see it. And now for our wine of the week, we're going to talk about the 2019 Aubert Mathieu Milo Minervois La Livinière. Hopefully I got that right. That's also from the Languedoc-Roussillon region, where Guillaume comes from, Clos Selene. And so this is a wine that we just absolutely loved, reviewed it a while ago. Some young winemaker, Anthony Aubert and Jean-Charles Mathieu, they formed the winery. Decanter The World Wine Awards gave it a 97-point score. We gave it, I think, a 93 or 94, something like that. But it was absolutely amazing. This is a beautiful GSM. It's 70% Syrah, 10% Kerrigan, 10% Grenache, 10% Mourvedre. You have to love it. And so if you get a chance, check that out. I think I picked it up over at Kermit Lynch. Can't be certain, but it's always a good place to try. So I would check over there or look around for it. I put a link to in the show notes where you can find it on Wine Searcher as well. So beautiful wine. And if you get a chance, grab yourself a bottle of that. You will love it. And now let's check out our restaurant of the week. So Tina and I have a family out in Inverness, Florida, which is kind of northwest of Tampa. And it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's a beautiful little city. But, as far as some super nice dining, we're always trying to find, hey, who's got an amazing wine list, a restaurant we might want to review. So we headed over to Brooksville, Florida. It's about 20 minutes away to get to here. And definitely a small little town, not where you would expect to find a very, very nice high-end steakhouse with a beautiful wine list. But Prime 88 in Brooksville, Florida is just that. It's got a classic vibe steakhouse, big booths, it's just absolutely wonderful. The wine list is superb. They've got a level 2 Somm, Tarek Varela. He was just fantastic in guiding us through our meal, talking through the wine list. And it's one of these things, if you happen to find yourself in that area, and you're saying, wow, where can I find I'm an hour north of Tampa. Where was there any good restaurants around here? Stop by Prime 88. You won't be disappointed. And their corkage fee is only $30. So if you want to bring your own bottle in, you can do that. I will tell you the markup on the menu was exceptionally reasonable. They had a bottle of Opus. Oh. All right, we'll just do a cut there. But I will tell you that the markup on the wine list was exceptionally reasonable. Really not even, I'd say 50% on the bottles. They were, especially on your higher end bottles, maybe 25, 30%. Super, super nice job. Exceptionally reasonable. So, but $30 corkage fee, there you go. And with that, we're going to wrap up another edition of This Week Uncorked. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us, and we would appreciate it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube, your favorite podcast app, follow us on X, follow us on Instagram, and we'd also love to hear from you in the comments as well. So cheers, everybody.